Hi everybody, welcome back. We're back in my kitchen. This is day 3 of our 28 days of challenge, well my 28 days of challenge to eat out of my fridge freezer. So I hope you're going to follow my progress, see how I go, and hope you can join me too. I'm going to follow along with recipes of things that I've got in my fridge, in my freezer, just to help you get some inspiration to use things out of your cupboard. So on the last day of January, I went through my fridge, I went through my freezer and all my cupboards, and I came up with a meal plan. So I wrote it all down of all the things that was in my freezer, and then I sat down. It took me 20 minutes maybe. I make most of my own food, so if you are a bit of you're not sure about what to make, I'm hopefully going to show you a few little bits of recipes as well on these videos. So that's my plan. So that will hopefully use up what's in my freezer, because I really want to clear that freezer out, defrost it, and start to organise it in a better way. Okay, I do have an inventory. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I have an inventory what's in my freezer, so I know what's in there. So when I buy anything different, I just add it to the list. My mum taught me that, and it's really helpful because it stops you throwing things away then, because you can think, oh, I've got 2 portions of a curry, I could have that for tonight's dinner, rather than at the end of like defrosting the freezer, find this stuff and then think, oh, what is this? I don't know what it is. So if you label it, just get yourself a pen and then a marker, and then you know what it is. Anyway, don't want to go on too much about that. So I want to go back to what I've been having for my last 3 days of food, because we've done day 3 now, and I want to just go back to day 1, 2, and today, so we know where we are. And I'm going to show you a little recipe of something that I'm going to make I'm going to make it now and have it for my lunch, because it's coming up to 1 o'clock and I'm kind of hungry. So on day 1, I always start my day with some lemon water, and I freeze my lemons and I put them in the freezer. So I take out a couple of slices of lemon, chuck it in some hot water, a bit of honey, and I have that in the morning. I've been having honey through the pandemic because apparently it's quite good for your immune system. So I buy raw honey, I always buy organic lemons, and then I put it in the freezer so then it will last, so it doesn't go off. Again, it's a tip just to keep things fresh. So I've got lots of lemons all sliced up, so I take it out. So I start my day with lemon water every day, it doesn't change. My breakfast is either usually like porridge, granola, or something like, I've been having a lot of soaked oats because I've got quite a lot of porridge oats. So all you do is you get some fruit. Maybe I've got my grapes that I bought yesterday, and I had some bananas, and I've got a little bit of pineapple left in my freezer, so I use that up, and I soak it overnight in half water and half milk. Now I have been buying soya milk. Okay, so I just bought this. This is my last thing of soya milk. So once this is gone, I'm not buying any more. So how am I going to have my cereals? I'm going to start making again, which I used to do years ago, make my almond milk. Okay, so this is my fresh almond milk, and it's just basically soaked almonds, and you whiz them up in a blender, a litre, and if you work it out, it's actually cheaper to buy the nuts, the organic nuts, and have fresh almond milk, and it's really delicious. So this morning I did use a little bit of the soya milk for my coffee, but then once that has gone, it's probably half empty now, I'm going to go back to using my almond milk. So that's my next thing. So I've got rid of all of my milk, so I can't buy any more. So that was a good thing, because I needed to start using those almonds and also start making the almond milk again, because it's much better for you. Okay, so I had that for breakfast. And then I had leek and potato soup, which I'd actually got in the freezer that I'd already made. So I defrosted that, and I made some homemade bread, some sourdough bread. I made 1 loaf a week, so I had some bread. So that was day 1. And in the evening, I had vegan sausages, some mashed potatoes, vegan gravy, and loads and loads of veg, broccoli. I'd got some beans, green beans in my freezer, which needed eating up, so I had those. So that was my dinner, and that was my day. Probably had some snacks on the way. I tend to make some power balls, things like that. A couple of cups of coffee, some tea, and herbal teas, things like that. Okay, day 2 was kind of the same-ish. Day 2, I had my breakfast. I had my lemon water, had my breakfast. This time I had some berries out of my freezer, which I actually foraged back in September, the blackberries. I got loads and loads of blackberries. Every time I went for a walk, I took with me, and I tell you what I keep, where is it? I keep these little containers, these are peanut butter containers, and I could keep these, and they're perfect. Put one of these in my rucksack, and then you can fill up these with blackberries, and then just give them a wash and put them in the freezer, and then you've got blackberries. I've had loads of blackberries. I've not actually bought fresh fruit for ages. I did stock up on Friday with some more fruit, some cherries and things like that. But the blackberries I've still got some. So I had some foraged blackberries with some grapes and a little bit of pineapple that was left. So again, very similar to the day before. And I had some soup again. So kind of used up that soup. And then last night I had some noodles, some fresh noodles that needed eating up. So I had those. And I made like a broth with some soya milk, tamari, soy sauce. I had some of that, and I put lots of like lemon juice, lime juice, made it a little bit like a Thai kind of thing with noodles in, and lots of veg, and I put some cashew nuts in. So I had that. It was a big bowl of broth. It was so lovely. And then I think I had a little snack after my yoga class, which was some avocados on some crackers. So that was my day yesterday. Again, I had some power balls and tea, coffee. I don't drink black tea, but like herb teas, yeah? So that was day 2. So we're now in day 3, which is today. Again, started my day with lemon water and the honey, like I normally do. And sometimes I will put ginger and turmeric in my water. But the last few days I've just been having lemon and honey. Right, day 3. So this is where I'm going to make something for you. So today I'm going to make a mock tuna. Okay, this is going to be all vegan stuff. Now this is quite a recipe that I don't know where on earth I got it from. I have a little book here that I tend to write things, recipes I find in magazines. So I don't know I can't tell you where I got this from, but it's called mock tuna. So I've had my breakfast exactly the same, my oats and my blackberries and my cereals and things. And then I had 2 cups of coffee this morning. I've now on to my 3rd cup of coffee, but this is dandelion coffee. And so now I'm going to have my lunch. So tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to make something else. I've shown you what I'm going to make for tonight as well. But we'll go on to this recipe. So this might be something that you might fancy making. So this is mock tuna, and it might be all things that you've already got in your fridge or your freezer. So the recipe is some celery and some onion, which I've already cut. It's got some almond butter, which I've got a little bit left in here, so I thought I'd kind of use this up. There's not much left in there. Some almond butter, these lentils. Remember those lentils that I was showing you? These are actually green lentils, and some of the mung bean, right? I think that's it, and some soy sauce. Okay, this is tamari. I love the tamari. All right, so this is it basically, a little bit of salt and pepper, and the secret ingredient to make it tunery, is that a word? Tastes like tuna, is nori seaweed. Now, I used to go to a lot of the good food shows. My daughter used to work for the shows, and I got this. This is actually nori seaweed, and I just put it in here, and it's actually got some sheets of the nori. You know, if you've got some sheets of the nori that you make sushi with, you can use that. So it smells like fish. It smells like seaweed, but it gives you that taste of like the sea. So if you're kind of missing that, if you're vegan, that's a nice thing to have. And it is really tasty and so nutritious. So what we're going to do, we've got a food processor here. I'm not going to take my camera and show it you all. I'm just going to go through and show you what I'm going to put in. So I'm going to put a cup of lentils. This is not a quarter, it's a 1/3. So remember, this whole pot was a 1/3. That amount is made 3 times. So it will bulk up literally into 3. So a 1/3 of that, a 1/3 of mung beans, So exactly the same again, a third. And again, I've got probably another third or even more than that left. Some celery. So we'll go for the cup thing, shall we? A third of celery. It makes life easier then, because people say, oh, what's the recipe? How much do I put in? How many ounces or how many grams is it? This has worked out really well, because the onion I cut is literally a third. So it's literally a slice of white onion. This is really strong, this onion. I've been talking to you and my eyes are like really burning. So a third of the onion. I'll be glad to get rid of that. Okay, we'll put some salt and pepper. So I have to just reach over. Okay, so a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt. So just got some sea salt. This is Himalayan salt or sea salt. And this is just fresh black pepper. Just a little bit, not too much, probably about a pinch. Give it some flavour. And then we're going to put in the almond butter. Okay, so we're going to put in, how much does it say? It says 3 tablespoons of almond butter. That's a lot. I made this before and I'm going to the recipe on this one. So we're going to do what it says. So 3 tablespoons of almond butter. Oh, this is, I need you to soften this a bit, but anyway, it'll do its trick. Okay, so we've got the almond butter in, we've got the celery, we've got the onions, we've got the lentils and the mung beans. Now we need to put a little bit of tamari. It doesn't tell you how much tamari, so I'm going to put a tablespoon in and see how it goes, because it will give it the liquid. And then I'm going to put in my seaweed, and the seaweed, it says just enough to make it a fishy taste. So I'm going to put in probably a level tablespoon. That's probably not going to be enough, but anyway, we'll see how it tastes, how it smells. So we're going to put the lid on. I think that's everything, and we're going to give it a whirl. I think it's going to be noisy, sorry. And what you want to do, you want to make it so it's not a paste. It's like, you know, like the fishiness of tuna. If you don't eat tuna, that fishy sort of texture, you want it kind of to be a bit textured. Just actually smell really nice. Okay, so that's about it really. That's kind of, I would say, I'm just going to give it one more little whirl. Okay, so I've got a nice little fancy dish that I'm going to put it in to serve it. And I'm going to serve it with the sourdough bread that I make. Now this we're going to make quite a bit. And this has got loads of protein in, loads and loads of nutrition. Really fill you up with some sourdough bread. That is your mock tuna. There we go. So there's a little recipe for you. So you can have a go at that, because that is absolutely delicious, right? Got my bread to go with it, my sourdough bread. It's a seeded bread. It's got pumpkin seeds in. If you thought it had gone mouldy, it's just got green sunflower seeds in and pumpkin seeds. And then for tonight's dinner, I'm going to make a risotto. So the risotto is going to be rice, my rice pat. That's all I've got left of my risotto rice. So I'm going to hopefully try and use that up, a little bit of that. I'm going to make it with cashew nuts in place of what would probably be prawns. I've got a bit of celery left. I've got a bit of the onion that I had earlier on, so I'm going to use a little bit of the onion. I'm going to use some greens. So I've got spinach in my freezer, and this is Swiss chard out of my garden. So I'm going to use that up. I will take the middle bit out because it's a bit woody, and then use the rest. Really delicious. So you can add that towards the end. If you've never made risotto, it's really easy to make. You just basically cook your onions up, fry it with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of butter maybe, and then you start to add your rice. Let the rice cook with the butter, and then you add your stock. And you just keep adding stock and keep moving it around so it starts to become starchy. If you just left the water on, it would just be like rice. But this is proper risotto rice, okay? So that's something I'm going to make tonight. So that's going to be a risotto rice with cashew nuts, the Swiss chard, some spinach. I don't eat tomatoes. If you wanted to grill some tomatoes, put them over the top. Serve it with a nice salad. There's your meals for the day. So that's what I'm going to be eating today. And we're up to date. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what I'm going to do tomorrow. Probably what I'll do is I'll hop on a bit later on. Probably show you my risotto. I won't show you how to make it and everything because it's quite easy, but I'll probably show you the finished article, the finished item. And then what I'll do is I'll tell you what I'm going to have for tomorrow, because I need to kind of go through my fridge and my freezer today and go through my list and think, oh, I'll make that. So, okay, thank you all very much for joining me. I hope you carry on with the challenge like I'm doing. Looking forward to tonight's dinner because I love risotto. And I'll see you so very much soon, and have a lovely rest of your day. Okay, thanks. Bye.